Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Midday Musing. We're so excited. We've been meeting together for the past 13 weeks, and we've been learning and growing together as a family around the world. And today's a very special day because we have a very special person among us. I remember meeting Nadine when I was 17 years old. Yes, as a teen. And our topic today is going to be youth engagement because she was one of the first people who actually inspired me to become a leader and to dream big and to make a difference. And so we're so excited to bring this to you. I hope that this is going to add value to you. So at this time, I'm going to ask Pam to take over.
All right. I'm also super excited just to see you, Nadine. Nadine is a dear friend of mine, and I just want to introduce her. She's the Senior Director of Volunteer Corps for Hope Worldwide. And right now, her husband, Mark, and her recently moved from Washington, D.C. to Kathmandu, Nepal. And as a couple, they've spent most of their adult life on the mission field. And Nadine was born in France. She's passionate about serving the youth, the marginalized, and those who are less privileged. And I met Nadine as a 19-year-old privileged Indian woman living in Chicago, and she was so influential in developing my heart for the poor and the marginalized, and she's influenced me to give up my selfish pursuit of self. And she's definitely changed the trajectory of my life to service. So thank you so much, Nadine, for your impact and friendship over the years. It's such a joy to have you here.
And thank you for having me.
Nadine, you have inspired us 30-something years ago, and you continue to inspire us because, like I said, today our topic is leadership and youth engagement. I want to ask you this. How do you develop a passion to serve the poor at the same time, just engage with the youth? Like, how do you develop a heart for something like this in your life? Because I've seen you consistently doing this for past 3 decades.
When I became a Christian, well, first of all, I was young too, but I was not religious. I did not grow up in any kind of church. I had no faith. I'd never read the Bible. So even though it was hard to become a Christian and to start believing in God, but the thing that really helped me is I had no preconceptions. I had no religious background. And so when I became a Christian and I started reading the Bible, I met Jesus for the first time. And I was introduced to this man who was amazing. And, when I look at his life, Jesus's ministry was about serving people. It was about helping people, helping them spiritually, of course, but also helping them emotionally and physically. Jesus's ministry, if you look at a day in the life of Jesus, say, starting at the end of Mark chapter 1, he gets up in the morning, he prays before the sun comes up, but then as he goes throughout his day, he is teaching and he's healing and then he's teaching again and then he's serving someone and then he rebukes somebody and then, he's serving again. So his whole life was really what I call the whole gospel. It was very holistic. It wasn't not just about preaching and baptizing people. It was about helping, serving on every level. And as he did so, he called young people. And they were unwise and they had a lot to learn, but Jesus knew what he was doing. They were full of faith. They had a pure faith. And I think that's what Jesus was looking for. So for me, it's just trying to imitate what Jesus did. Again, no preconceived ideas about what religion or Christianity should look like. So maybe that's helped. I don't know.
Yeah, I definitely remember you just teaching me to just love the poor and follow Jesus. So that's what it's all about. And now that we are old, I see our gray hair on all 3 of us, and we're at a different phase in our life. Why is it so important for us as the older generation to engage with the youth? And, would you be able to share some practical ways that we can go about doing that?
Well, it is important because we are getting older and these young people are going to take over, whether we want it or not. They are going to take over. And so if we want to pass the baton in a good way, then we have to engage with them. I think the most important thing is to make sure that we have a healthy dialogue with the youth, that they feel safe to talk to us, that they feel embraced and welcome and not judged, but and also so we can provide mentoring. I mean, I find in working with young people that they so desperately want mentoring. They want guidance. They don't want shallow advice. They want mentoring. They want guidance. You know, we have done a very good job, I think, in the church, raising a whole generation of very smart, very spiritual, very talented young people. And we have taught them to ask why they believe what they believe. I think we need to have a healthy mutual respect with the youth. So and engaging. I think sometimes there's a little bit of fear. We are intimidated by the youth. We're intimidated by their zeal and by their opinions, and you know, and it can be tempting to label them as rebellious or independent or disrespectful, when really they're just young and they want to learn, and they don't always do it the right way. But I think we as the older people need to take the high road and reach out to them and really engage with them.
Yeah, thank you.
Amazing advice, Nadine. As I was speaking, I'm thinking about just even my own kids, because I have a 24-year-old and a 22-year-old. And, you know, I had to change in order to reach out to them. But coming back to your life, I'm always inspired looking at you, because I know you've been through hard times, and I know you've been through disappointing times in your life, and it hasn't been easy. But one thing I've noticed about you is somehow you always bounce back as a leader. You don't let life keep you down. You know, what's your secret?
Yes, definitely many hard times. And even what I'm sharing, you know, about the youth, a lot of it has come from lessons I've learned through raising my own children and the many mistakes that I've made in raising my own kids. I think what helps me to stay idealistic and faithful and joyful is, I would say, couple of things. One is the deep conviction I have to have a great relationship with God, and to make the time every day to pray and to be in the Word. Not to read books about the Word, but to be in the Word. But also to have those special times with God, to talk to Him, to pray. I mean, I need it so badly. I'm too sinful to not pray. So that's one thing. I think the other thing, which, you know, I feel very strongly about, is I need to be true to who I am. I need to know who I am, first of all, and what I bring to the table, but then also be true to that. So at every corner, at every crisis time in our life, you know, at every crossroad, Mark and I have asked each other, so what do we do now? Who are we? You know, what do the Templars stand for? And that's helped us make tough decisions sometimes, like, you know, moving or changing careers, or just so that we could remain true to who we were when we first went to India at the age of 24. So that's helped, because I feel very, very blessed to be doing the things I really wanted to do, and to be living the life I really, really wanted to live. And God has been very gracious. I've always wanted to live in Nepal, for example. And lo and behold, you know, we're almost 60 years old and we just moved to Nepal. And I mean, I have to be happy about that, right? And then the other thing too that's really helped me is a tremendous support of all my girlfriends. I have tremendous relationships with women who are my refuge, my comfort, my you know, my challenges. But I would not be here doing what I'm doing with a smile on my face if it wasn't for my girlfriends. And you two are definitely part of that network. But yeah, I think those deep, deep friendships are so important.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. I definitely value our friendship. I wanted to touch base about conflicts. I feel like, can you teach us about resolving conflicts between generations? I think about the generational gap between the boomers, the millennials, the iGen. Uh, it's it's so evident. So what are some ways that we can connect and work through conflict and misunderstanding? What are some ways that we can be people who bridge the gap? And would you be able to speak to that?
I think it's going to take great humility,
Yeah, yeah,
humility from every side.
right.
Um, we always expect the youth to be respectful, um, and that's right. They need to be. But I also think that we, as older people, need to be humble and listen. I think listening is really important. As I said earlier, I want young people to feel safe, to come
Mhm.
forward with what they think, what they feel, their dreams, their ideas, their hurts. I think just listening and also being willing to be challenged and to re-examine why we do what we do and how we do it.
Yeah.
I always say that, I work with a wonderful um, network of global service interns, campus students and young professionals who, help lead the volunteer corps. And they're all very smart and very talented and very opinionated. And, they keep me on my toes. They challenge my thinking. I was speaking to one of them yesterday in Europe, and, he gave me some really good input. And, that was I'm so grateful for that. But, it's a little bit unsettling when a 19-year-old is telling you, hey, maybe you should consider this.
Mhm.
So I think it's going to take great humility, love, patience, but especially listening.
Yeah.
And that's for the older generation. I think for the young generation, what it's going to take is also humility, but also courage.
Mm.
Courage to, don't just sit in your corner having a bad attitude, have courage. Go to your leaders, go to your parents and speak, say what's on your heart. So
Wow.
Thank you. Thank you. That's
There's
awesome.
a quote I was reading this morning, even as I was praying. I guess it's from Franklin Roosevelt. And he said, "You cannot always build the future for our youth, but we can build our youth for the future." And
Mm.
it's very much in lines with what you're saying, Nadine, is that if we prepare ourselves and we connect with the youth, then we can prepare them for the future. Because I look at the world right now and just the insecurities and just the unrest that's around us. And, it's unsettling, especially for parents and people who are thinking, what's going to happen next. And I really appreciate that you have chosen this path, where you are actually going and reaching out and engaging the youth and trying to make a difference. If you were to give a message, let's say words of wisdom for both the youth and the older generation in just 2 lines or 2 sentences, what would you say?
I think embrace one another, reach out, open your mouth in a loving way, don't hold back. My motto in life is to have no regrets.
That's
So
right.
I
I
always
remember.
try. I always try to say what's really on my heart, and it's scary, it's risky, but I think we need to be courageous and loving. This is bigger than ourselves. So yeah.
Amen. Awesome.
Yeah, yeah, such wisdom today. Thank you so much, Nadine, just for challenging us to the core. What you were sharing so resonates. And I had to deal with my humility. And so thank you for challenging us. I think for us older generation, just adopting this posture of humility, really learning to listen, because we are so used to telling people what to do and just being entitled that they should follow a certain way, but that is not working. So I think for the younger generation, just the courage to speak and not sit with bad attitudes, because that doesn't bridge the gap. So we need to kind of figure out how can we communicate and hear each other so that we can mature, we can take that high road like you told us. And it starts with our relationship with God. And when we're in the Word, and when we talk to God and we figure out who we truly are and what we really stand for, we really need to learn how to truly mentor the next generation. So there's so much here, so much wisdom. Nadine, thank you so much for just being a part of our lives over the years and the influence you had in us, and now as we pass it on to the next generation. We love you.
Thank you.
As we come to the end of our musings today, I just want to thank all the viewers. I know you've been supportive, encouraging, and we want to keep it coming. Our goal is to inspire, encourage, motivate, influence your next step in life as leaders. And so I do want to welcome you to share the video with your friends, or even subscribe to us at YouTube. I just feel very, very encouraged that we can invite experts like Nadine and so many others who can come and in a little time share with us wisdom that they have learned from years and years together. So today we're signing off from Midday Musing. See you next week.
Yes, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.